The author of the Orion Mystery aligned a photograph of the 3 stars in Orion's belt with the photograph of the Great Pyramids of Giza, and he discovered that they matched perfectly. He also discovered that a diagram of the Milky Way and the 3 stars in Orion's belt as they appeared in the heavens 12,500 years ago when construction of the pyramids was planned aligns perfectly with the Nile River and the 3 pyramids of Giza, and the picture is out of kilter for any other period. Casey stated that the Great Sphinx, the Great Pyramid, the base of the 2nd largest pyramid, and the layout for the Giza Plateau were built over a 100-year period between 12,490 and 12,390 years ago during the reign of the Carpathian king's son. Now the Great Sphinx, if you look here, it has a lion's head and a lion's body and a human head. It seems to depict human consciousness and intelligence evolving from the beast, the king of the jungle. Now the lion is the symbol or totem of England, and H. sapiens Neanderthal tribes or Swampscombe tribes of Kent and tribes of England were what the kingdom of Atlantis evolved through in the Aryan evolutionary cycle. Think about it. England has been just about the major dominant power throughout the Aryan evolutionary cycle in one way or another. Now I'm recognizing Rome and Persia, but for the long time England was allied with them. So let's say the Aryans were. Okay. Now the Great Sphinx gazes to the east, hence it views the sunrise or the expanding creation. Now the Great Sphinx is 240 feet long, 38 feet wide, and 66 feet high, and was carved directly out of the natural rock of the Giza Plateau. Because it was carved right out of the natural rock, it can't be dated by radiocarbon techniques, which are applicable only to organic matter. However, it bears marks of aquatic erosion everywhere except the head, which shows signs of major recarving. The head of the Sphinx is too small in proportion to its body. Now, I'm not sure I'm saying his name right. Professor Robert Schultz of Boston University, a geologist, a stratigrapher, and paleontologist whose specialty is the weathering of soft rock, examined the Great Sphinx, and he concluded that it bore erosion patterns that were caused by several millennia of heavy rainfall. Now, paleoclimatologists state that the heavy rainfall of the kind required to create the erosion pattern on the Great Sphinx, look at its head, that kind of rain stopped falling on Egypt at least 7,000 years ago. Now, Egypt experienced several millennium or 1,000 years of heavy rainfall or pluvials between 12,000 and 7,000 years ago when it was the most oblate region of the earth. Now, Graham Hancock wrote Fingerprints of the Gods, in which he stated, to state matters briefly, the signs of intense precipitation-induced weathering visible to this day on the great monument itself and in the rock-hewn trench surrounding it are consistent with an age of more than 12,000 years. And Casey stated that the Great Sphinx was built 12,500 years ago, which was during the Leonine, or the age of Leo, the zodiac sign, the age of Leo. Now, a person standing directly between the paws of the Great Sphinx, look at the picture, and looking due east 12,500 years ago, would see the sun rising in the zodiacal constellation of Leo. The constellation of Leo, the lion, and the lion of the Great Sphinx would have been perfectly aligned, as would the Milky Way and the Nile River and the stars of Orion's belt and the pyramids of Gaza. Now, you know that's some doing. I mean, those were some scientists. Today they could not do that. They couldn't even approach that. Okay, now the three pyramids of Tiahuanaca near Mexico City also form an exact terrestrial diagram of the three belt stars and the constellation of Orion, and that Ricine nuclei spider of the Nazca Plateau is a terrestrial diagram of the constellation of Orion. So this constellation of Orion is everywhere. The pyramids of Gaza are considered to be one of the 7 wonders of the world. The northernmost, largest, and oldest of the 3 is called the Great Pyramid. Now the second largest is called the Pyramid of Khafre, and the smallest is called the Pyramid of Menkaure. Okay, now Peter Lemesurier wrote Decoding the Great Pyramid, in which he listed a lot of facts and statistics about the Great Pyramid. Now, hold on for 1 second. I just want to read some of those to you. I forgot to bring them over there. Okay, now, we got a picture of the Great Pyramid. Now, no corpse was ever laid to rest in the Great Pyramid, although a lot of people like to say it was a tomb, but no corpse was ever put in there. So it's not a tomb or a funeral structure. It's the most massive building known. It has twice the volume and 30 times the mass of New York's Empire State Building. Some of the stones in the Great Pyramid weigh up to 70 tons and were so finely cut and positioned as to give joints of less than a 50th of an inch in thickness. Fine cement was run into the joints of the stones in the Great Pyramid so expertly as to give an even coverage of single areas as big as 5 feet by 7 in the vertical. Now, the original outer casing of polished limestone, all 21 acres, were leveled and honed to the standard of accuracy normal in modern optical work. That means getting your glasses done. They honed that perfectly. Now, the United States Coast Survey in 1868 discovered the following. The Great Pyramid is located at the exact center of the geometrical quadrant formed by the Nile Delta. The Great Pyramid is on the longest and land contact meridian on the Earth's surface, and it lies at 30 degrees north latitude, exactly 1/3 of the distance from the equator. Now, the rest of this is mostly mathematical, geometric, but all of these are precise measurements. And one of the main ones for the design angle of descent and accent of the Great Pyramid's sloping passages was once the exact elevation of the pole star from the latitude of the pyramid. At any rate, what I want to say is if the same angle of descent is laid off the Great Pyramid's east-west axis in a northeasterly direction, the run line so produced passes directly through the Jewish town of Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus Christ. In other words, the Great Pyramid was just, well, perfection. It was a maze of, how can I say this? It was an architectural masterpiece, something that can never be duplicated. Now, the Great Pyramid, in all its detail, was said to be the most perfect of all known pyramids. The cutting and fitting of limestone and granite blocks was described as incredible. 20th century architects and engineers state that the high-tech precision was built into every aspect of the Great Pyramid. It was aligned to within 3/60th of a single degree of true north and south. Its alignment was more accurate than that of the Meridian building at the Greenwich Observatory in London, which was aligned to within 9/60th of a degree. Martin Eisler An American archaeologist stated that the Great Pyramid's accurate orientation could only have been achieved by using celestial bodies. Now, the Great Pyramid is essentially an inverted core of Earth. The walls contain laser-cut channels that were made by stellar radiations passing through the Earth and the waters of the Nile River. The waters of the Nile River is the expanding emotional creativity, feeling, and spirits of the population. Waters of the Nile River expand the earth, plants, and animal life of Egypt. Water from the Nile River seeps up the walls of the pyramid by osmosis. Osmosis is a law of nature whereby a solvent or a gas passes through a semi-permeable membrane into a region of higher concentration so as to equalize concentrations on both sides of the membrane. Now, concentrated celestial spirit passes through the earth, a wall of the pyramid, and back into the spiritual dimension. A spirit is freed or released from earthly incarnations when water of the Nile River creates channels that allow water to evaporate and pass from the walls into the gaseous celestial free state. Water approaches the peak of the Great Pyramid as the earth approaches the fully rebounded state, and all possible genetic chromosomal arrangements for Cro-Magnon, H. sapien Neanderthal Aryans form, and the mutating, changing Cro-Magnon, H. sapiens Cro-Magnon re-evolves. Now, the Great Pyramid was deliberately left without a capstone, which represents the sun. It has been theorized capstone symbolized the world in darkness, meaning spiritual darkness.